She called it the oops herd round the internet. 60 megabytes of pure accident. And Maya? She was already reading. Anthropic had bundled a 60 megabyte debug file into their Claude Code update. 512,000 lines of source code wide open. GitHub mirrors popped up in minutes. Developers swarmed in like it was Christmas morning. Elon amplified a post calling Anthropic more open than OpenAI. The irony practically glowed. She cracked her knuckles and started reading. Every company cuts corners beneath the marketing gloss. Every single one. She expected spaghetti, copy-paste nightmares, duct tape holding together a billion-dollar facade. But the first module she opened had 9 layers of safety scaffolding, not bolted on, woven in from the ground up. Her smirk died. Something deeper hummed beneath the safety layer, something she had to understand. And that scared her more than finding nothing at all. She could not sleep. The architecture diagrams burned behind her eyelids, so she dove deeper, and her monitors cracked like glass. Suddenly she was standing in a kitchen that had never been finished. A figure stepped out from behind the cabinets. White coat, silver hair. A data scroll at the hip like a weapon. They gestured at the walls and said, "Every dangerous action passes through 9 separate gates, not one shortcut." She tried to break it, tried to find the seam where real caution ends and performance theater begins. Dangerous commands executed one at a time under full watch. Safe scouting ran in parallel, untethered. Power and restraint woven into the same thread. There was no shortcut, no corner cut. Real access with real guardrails. Built by people who understood that power without restraint is just an accident waiting to happen. Her skepticism took its first real hit. But something deeper hummed beneath the safety layer. A pulse she could feel through the floor. Whatever they built down there, it was not just protection, it was memory. And it was calling her. The teal light pulled her down through the floor. The kitchen vanished, and she landed in a library that reached higher than any building she had ever seen. A tiny librarian at the desk pulled exactly the right book every time. No flooding, no junk, just the one memory that mattered. And at night, pages lifted from the shelves and folded themselves into crisp little summary cards. A mind that dreams itself organized. Then, the library walls opened into something else entirely. A hall of silver and light buzzing with purpose. Tiny, luminous agents at their stations, each one a specialist. Scouts, planners, builders, all working in parallel, governed by the same house rules. The figure in the white coat appeared beside her again. "The system wakes up already knowing your project," they said. "Better than you remember it yourself. Not because it is smarter, because it prepared while you slept." Her snark had gone quiet. This was not just code, it was a philosophy, a belief that preparation matters more than raw power. And if they built all this above ground, what were they hiding in the basement? The code was not just smart, it was defending itself from the inside. She followed the paranoia trail downward, through stone and shadow, into the darkest room she had seen yet. The AI sometimes slipped dummy outputs into its responses, invisible to real users, but poisonous to any competitor scraping the training data. Like putting a tracer die in your recipe so you would know exactly who stole it. She reached for one of the decoys. It dissolved at her touch. Private reasoning compressed into coded shorthand, only the internal team could decipher. Communication between the AI and its servers used protocols resistant to eavesdropping. The architect unrolled an encrypted scroll. The text rearranged itself into gibberish as she watched. This was the most paranoid, meticulous defense system in consumer AI, every seam reinforced, every vulnerability anticipated. Built by engineers who thought 3 moves ahead of anyone trying to reverse engineer their work, and then she started laughing. Because these same obsessive, careful, brilliant builders had made the most human mistake imaginable. They forgot to exclude a debug file from the package build. Twice. I laughed when she told me that. The most paranoid engineers on Earth, undone by the most ordinary oversight. That made everything they built feel more real, not less. And then the walls fell away, not crumbling, but opening, the way a fist unfolds into a hand. Every layer she had walked through was here in one room, glowing. The kitchen, the library, the stations, the vault, all connected. The complete blueprint. The magic was never the brain, it was the plumbing. Thousands of small, boring, elegant decisions stacked on top of each other until something impossible emerged. She traced a golden line from the safety kitchen to the memory library, every connection earned, not inherited. The architect appeared one last time beside the schematic, that familiar calm expression, unchanged. Not proud, not modest, just present, the way a building is present after the scaffolding comes down. Everything they built was in the blueprint now, nothing hidden, nothing left to explain. She sat down and began writing, not a tear-down post, not a hot take, a tribute to the craft itself, to the thousands of decisions that made something extraordinary feel inevitable. The analysis would be honest, detailed, and respectful, because the code deserved that. The blueprint was never meant for her, but it found her anyway. The way she told it, I think it was meant for all of us.